Now we're going to talk about how to extend BIS with the code repository. So let's say, for instance, that you have a bunch of functions that you use on a regular basis in a lot of different jobs. What you can do is actually write code in the code repository within BIS and then have one central area for all of your code snippets and useful classes and extensions to BIS that you want to do, and you can then reuse all those code snippets and classes within all of your BIS jobs just by simply dragging them into your BIS job. So up here on the menu you have a menu option called the code repository, and this is the central area where we store code on the server that can be used across all the different BIS jobs. Okay, so we have both classes and we have code snippets. So for instance, a sample snippet might be that I want to go out and do some clearing of a staging table or something. So this is a snippet that I might use in a lot of different places, so I can just code it once here in the code repository and then reuse this in different places. Here's a sample snippet of checking to see if today is Tuesday. So, and then I can do code snippets where I can have full-on classes. So this is a class that we've developed that helps with SFTPs, and then we give a sample usage of it. So we just basically create a class, and we have some useful functions in here for downloading files or downloading all files, downloading or uploading a file, and you just pass in the server and port and username, password, and things like that. So this is a very useful class that we can reuse across X number of BIS jobs within the system. The other thing that I can do is I can create a brand new class. Like let's say for instance in this example we'll create a date helper class. Let's say I work with Oracle a lot and I need to format my dates coming into Oracle in the Oracle NLS date format. And I do this all the time because we're a huge Oracle shop, right? So I might want to create a class out here called my date helper. And this helps me to convert all of my dates to Oracle NLS date format. Okay, and I'm just going to give it a date or a folder that I want to put this in. I'll just call this date functions, and it's a class, and I'll call this my date helper. Okay. And I can choose at this point to include this in all my jobs. So what that means is if I check this box, this chunk of code will automatically be included in every single BIS job. So if it's something that you just use everywhere, you can do that. In this case, I'm just going to keep that unchecked, and then I need to decide whether I want to use it in that job or not. So I'm going to say OK. And what happens is initially is I just create a stub of a class out there that you can just use as a get starting point. So for instance, I give you a variable and a constructor and a property and a function just so you can see how things are formatted in here. So in this particular class we don't really need the variable and we don't really need the properties. We're just going to basically provide some functions to do some date formatting. So for instance, let's say I want to format my month, day, yy's to Oracle format. Okay, and I want to return that as a string, and I want to pass a date in that I want to format. Okay, so now I really just need to fill in the blanks here. I just need to kind of write the code to make all this happen. So I'll just quickly write some code here. I need a date time variable, and I need some format info. And I need something to return my string in. So this is where I'm going to return the value. I always want to do my try catches. and I always want to return my return value. Okay, so now we just need to basically take our date here. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to parse what's coming in here. Whoops. So my end date is coming in as month, day, y. So I just need to convert that into an actual date time variable. So I'll just say this is how it's coming in, and I'll pass in my format information. And then my return val, I'm just going to simply reformat that date to the Oracle date format. So that's going to be my DD MMM YYYY. So that's a typical Oracle date format. So really what this function does is it takes, like 01/17/2015 and converts it to 17 Jan 2015. Okay. And then finally, Oracle likes to have things in uppercase. So if I want, I can say return val equals return val dot to upper, and that'll uppercase the whole string. If I do get an exception for some reason, like say for instance end date is nothing, or something like that, then what I'm going to do is simply return the original value that the user passed in and do nothing. That'll be my kind of catch-all, do nothing. Okay, so now we have a class, my date helper, and we have a function that we've written here. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now it's there. Now it's out there in my code repository. Now if I go to any job within BIS here, for instance, say like my load transactions, I can actually pull that class into my job. Okay, so the way that I do that is I go to the code repository section here, and I pull in the class reference, and I just kind of drop it out here, because I just want it included in my job. And then I go to properties, and one of the properties here is the code repository name that I want to include. So I can just simply go here, pick the class that I want to include, say OK, and now I have this class included in my job. So when my job is compiled, that chunk of code will also be compiled in with my job. And if I want, I can view the code here. I can't change it or anything, but I can just view it, and that's just helpful from a review standpoint to see what the code was doing. Okay, so now if I want to actually use that somewhere, I can, like say for instance I'm in my transformation, and let's say I want to convert my calendar date here. I can just say dim DH or D as my date helper, and you'll notice that it's automatically built into the IntelliSense for you. Okay, so I'll make this get a new one. Actually, I want to say return D dot, and then here's my function, and you'll notice it has all the IntelliSense built in automatically. And then I can just pass it my sales file dot calendar date, and that date will automatically then be converted to the Oracle format date when it goes into the database. So as you can see, it's very easy to create reusable functions in BlueSky Integration Studio just simply by going to the code repository and creating yourself a class or a series of functions or code snippets that you can then reuse across a lot of different jobs in your system. And then you can also share these functions with different users and different developers throughout the BlueSky server system. Okay, so that's how you use the code repository to extend BIS.